Today we have to discuss some brand new massive reports that claim that Xbox could indeed be going the direction of a third-party software publisher, maybe only having timed exclusives on their major games going forward, and we're specifically going to break down what this means for the future of Nintendo releases, because we know about Microsoft and Nintendo's working relationship with a number of different recent titles and how things like Minecraft perform with the Nintendo audience. Well, it now sounds like we might be opening up an entire new can of worms, an entire new first-party lineup of major Xbox exclusives that could be slated to come to things like the Nintendo Switch 2, according to these credible reports. And if you are a multi-console gamer, you might also be very interested to know that PlayStation 5 is the one being name-dropped right now for some of these games. So we're going to break down all the exact details. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And we have to kick it off by hopping straight over to VGC, where you can see their detailed typed up article around these claims together. Starfield is reportedly coming to PS5 along with other Xbox exclusives. Microsoft gaming leadership have reportedly decided to release more games on rival platforms. Microsoft is reportedly planning to release Starfield on PlayStation 5 as part of a new initiative to bring more Xbox exclusive games to other console platforms. That's according to Xbox Era, which cites anonymous sources who claim that the Bethesda RPG is being planned for release on Sony's console alongside previously rumored Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves ports. According to the publication sources, Microsoft is planning to release Starfield for PlayStation 5 after the game's planned Shattered Space expansion, which is due to arrive on Xbox and PC later this year. It's claimed that Microsoft has made additional investment into PlayStation 5 dev kits to support the development effort. Bethesda's upcoming Indiana Jones game could be another first-party Xbox title set to release on PlayStation 5, according to The Verge sources. According to the publication, Bethesda is considering bringing Indiana Jones and The Great Circle to PlayStation 5 following its announcement for Xbox and PC last month. A new multi-platform approach for certain Xbox games is emerging inside Microsoft, we're told, with the company weighing up which titles will remain exclusive and others that will appear on Switch or PS5 in the future, it wrote. Bethesda will reportedly launch its Indiana Jones game first as an Xbox console exclusive, followed by a possible PS5 release some months later. On the surface, the move would represent a significant change in Microsoft's gaming strategy, which has previously seen it keep its biggest titles exclusive to Xbox consoles, other than those which were already multi-platform before joining Xbox, such as Minecraft or The Elder Scrolls Online. However, Xbox already releases all of its first-party games on PC immediately, and with PlayStation 5 reportedly outselling the Xbox Series consoles significantly, it's possible the company has decided the potential software sales can no longer be ignored. According to the Xbox Era report, Microsoft senior leadership have reportedly debated the various pros and cons of releasing more of their exclusive software elsewhere, and internally, not everyone is necessarily happy with the decision, but recouping the potential money left on the table by not releasing elsewhere has arguably won out. While console is still important to Xbox/Microsoft, it's pretty clear that Microsoft's goal for a while has been to get its games accessed anywhere, hence why you can play Xbox games on PC or on mobile via cloud. Game Pass also tying into that. PlayStation or Nintendo releases would just be an extension of that strategy. So besides those games mentioned in the report, Andy Robinson has been cited saying online that he's heard of more projects besides what's being reported upon, potentially slated for release on competition consoles such as the Switch and the PlayStation 5. And I really think most of this does not affect a lot of what we will see happen on the Nintendo Switch in the immediate future, outside of likely Hi-Fi Rush showing up at the next Nintendo Direct, because I do think that that's where the game will likely be unveiled. It could even be a shadow drop or just a quick turnaround release. We even have data mined evidence in one of their newest updates that suggests that that game is slated to come to Switch and PlayStation. And now we're hearing about Xbox's broader strategy potentially being around this timed exclusivity thing where, yes, Game Pass and PC will likely still get many of these projects first, but then you talk about a 6-month window like a time exclusive, and we're just going to see it potentially show up on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch 2. And I think most of these projects that are going to be down the line, such as Starfield and also such as Indiana Jones: The Great Circle, likely will come to something like Nintendo Switch 2. If it can run on that console hardware effectively, depending on just how powerful the console is when it finally launches, I think there's no reason for Microsoft to hold it back from Nintendo, because they have a better relationship with Nintendo than they do with Sony, who they see as more of a direct threat to their bottom line. So if Microsoft is willing to throw stuff on PlayStation consoles that are first-party Xbox developed games, you better bet that they're also going to throw as many of those at Nintendo Switch 2 as possible. Many of you probably already know about the 10-year agreement that has been officially signed and is a legal binding agreement that Microsoft, as part of the Activision Blizzard merger, agreed to put Call of Duty on Nintendo platforms for the next 10 years minimum. So I would expect the 2024 Call of Duty game towards the end of the year, whatever that is, to probably be ready to go day and date on Nintendo's successor platform, providing we have it available at that point in time. And the claim is that it will have full content parity with the other versions, meaning you can do anything on the Nintendo Switch 2 version that you would be able to do on these other console versions. So as crazy as it sounds, we might very soon be talking about things like Halo Master Chief Collection coming to Nintendo Switch 2 alongside of the most recent Halo release, and then Elder Scrolls coming down the line. That Indiana Jones game actually looks really interesting to me. I'm not the biggest person on first-person action-adventure games, other than like Metroid Prime, I guess would be a good comparison on one that I absolutely got hooked into, but that one looked interesting enough, and there is some switches to a third-person perspective whenever you're doing certain things, and it sounds like a lot of these games are just going to be pushed out to the masses as more of a third-party play for Microsoft, just due to the amount of revenue that they can make by going that direction. You have to stop and realize that when they did the $69 billion deal to acquire Activision Blizzard, but yet their console sales are not where they want them to be, they have so much power in the marketplace when it comes to the amount of eyes that are on them from a new games release perspective, and to just tie it down to only Xbox and PC is really shooting themselves in the foot from a revenue standpoint. So it's likely that they're just going to decide to branch out, and Nintendo gets games from their first party studios, and so does PlayStation. Now, as far as how long the timed exclusivity might be for Game Pass, because they're still going to obviously want to incentivize you to play on their console if at all possible, we'll have to wait and see for all of those details. There is an upcoming interview with Sarah Bond that's been cited, where it sounds like she may have some kind of answer or direction as far as what Xbox's more multi-platform strategy will be, and that's supposed to happen in the springtime from what I've read online. So we'll kind of have to sit on the sidelines at this point in time, but I do think the first piece of the puzzle to this will be Hi-Fi Rush, likely showing up at the Nintendo Direct. That should hopefully be announced any day now, if it hasn't been announced already, because I'm filming this on Sunday. You're probably watching it on Monday. Anyway, you get the idea. We should hopefully see that domino fall, and then following that, Sea of Thieves very much in the conversation, likely for Nintendo Switch 2 as opposed to Nintendo Switch 1, although they might be able to do a graphically downgraded version and port it to Switch if they wanted to, but I'm expecting this primarily to impact the future of Switch 2 releases, and that just spells good news for us Nintendo gamers at the end of the day, and good news for all console gamers, because console wars are stupid. At the end of the day, you shouldn't just subscribe to one blindly and say that all the other ones are trash. That's not the reality of it, and the easier it is to access games that gamers want to play, the better in my book at the end of the day, especially with the hybrid form factor that we are expecting the Nintendo Switch 2 to carry, so you can play those games at home or on the go, which will be a massive win. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your thoughts and opinions around this pivot of Xbox's strategy with their first party releases. Do you think that yes indeed we will see games like Starfield, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, amongst many others, and even Indiana Jones all come to consoles like Nintendo Switch 2 eventually, and PlayStation? Do you think it's good news for more accessibility and easier ways to play these games, or do you think that Microsoft not holding their own titles exclusive is actually a bigger problem for the gaming industry, and maybe a way we're not thinking about here? And which first party owned Microsoft games are you most hopeful that we do see make it over to Nintendo or Sony platforms in the future? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before we leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch the video on screen next if you haven't already. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.